I'm good, she good, we good, it's all good, and that's good, that's good, that's good.
What's up, it's Kim. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a video that absolutely no one asked for, but I'm gonna do anyway because I love these videos. It's an everyday routine, what I apply on my face in terms of skincare, makeup, all that good stuff. So before there was that whole dewy highlighter craze, everyone was obsessed with matte. And I feel like when you had acne-prone, oily skin, a lot of the recommendations would gear you towards the more mattifying products. So the matte foundation, those booty hole lipsticks, you know what I'm talking about. Like, matte lipsticks are not comfortable. I don't care what you tell me, I don't care what you recommend me, they are not comfortable. And they will always leave the white crusties that are not cute. Anyway, I've come to realize that the best way to combat all that oil production is by adding more moisture into your skin. So the first thing I start off with in the morning is not cleansing. I feel like cleansing in the morning isn't really necessary just because nothing's really happening at night. So I'd like to start off with a brightening and nourishing toner. The one that I've been testing out is from Aquel. This one is a licorice pH balancing cleansing toner. So licorice is good for brightening. I have a lot of acne scarring because I'm going through puberty again. So I'm just going to take this with a cotton round. It does just enough to remove any of the gunk that's formed overnight. If you're the type of person who likes to cleanse in the morning, I would go for something more hydrating, like the CeraVe hydrating cleanser that comes in the green bottle. That's really nice and gentle. So next up, I am using an essence. So this is something that I recently started to include in my routine just because it's really cold and dry where I'm at, and this is just a way for me to layer more moisture. This is the Real Ferment Micro Essence from Neogen. It's a deeply hydrating and brightening essence that contains more than 93% naturally fermented ingredients. So this micro essence is for brighter, softer, and deeply hydrated skin, which is what I want. So I'm just going to dump a bit into my hand, and then we're gonna do a little bit of this. And then press, oh it's cold. Okay, yeah, press it into your face. And then you can't forget the neck. When I'm applying essence, I like to do a little like pitter patter motion. You know, not like slap your face, but I feel like this helps with blood flow. Similar to using one of those jade rollers, which I do have, but I'm too lazy to take it out this morning. That really helps with puffiness. Next up, I am taking the Ordinary Niacinamide 10% with zinc 1%. This is really awesome for oily acne-prone people because niacinamide really helps with your pores, and then the zinc helps with the sebum production. I like to apply this in the mornings before my makeup because I feel like it generally makes a difference with how the rest of my makeup wears throughout the day. I don't get that oily, and with consistent use of this, I do find a difference in my pores. Before I was using the Paula's Choice, which was $30, and this one's, I think it's like $5. But the Paula's Choice one is definitely more liquidy, and this is, what are words? So now that is done, on to my favorite step, and that is applying a sunscreen. So I'm using this Paula's Choice sunscreen. It is called the Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense with Broad Spectrum SPF 30. It's a silky lotion that mattifies with a sheer natural tint for all skin tones. I've tried quite a few sunscreens. This one is my favorite because it feels like a tinted lotion. I mean, it is a tinted lotion. What the hell am I saying? Okay, so I got a few comments in my 2100 video from people saying like, oh yeah, sunscreen causes cancer, which is completely untrue. Please wear sunscreen. If anything, if you don't wear sunscreen, you might get skin cancer, okay? Basically, a lot of your skin concerns can be dealt with by preventing further damage by using sunscreen. Sunscreen use can help prevent wrinkles, pigmentation, just the overall well-being and health of your skin. So whoever is saying like sunscreen causes cancer, You are misinformed, ma'am, sir, dude. Where's sunscreen? So I'm just gonna start with a little bit. Oh no, actually no, first I need to shake it. No, let's just keep this well loved. All right, I start with this penny dime sized amount, and then we're going to put it all over my face. I like to layer. I just find that it's easier for the product to soak in, and typically I believe you need to be using like a tablespoon amount of sunscreen for it to actually be beneficial. The tint is a bit pink, which you can kind of, it's not super noticeable, it's very subtle. As the day progresses, the tint will kind of just blend into your natural skin tone. I've tried a lot of sunscreen for oily skin that it's very mattifying, almost to the point where I started getting dry flakes. So if you have oily skin, don't be afraid of using more dewy, radiant products, because what we have going on right now is that layer of hydration, and then we have that niacinamide zinc, which is good for your sebum production. That also combats the oiliness. And that's all just through our skincare. With this, I feel like I can apply less makeup to actually combat the oiliness, and it looks very natural. Okay, I can't forget the neck. So my favorite lip product is from Fenty Beauty. It is their Gloss Bomb. This is my second tube. I currently have the one in the shade Fussy, but I did use the original shade. I forget what it's called. I think it's just like the normal Gloss Bomb from the first launch. That one was a bit more peachy, and I decided to go with this one because it's a bit more rosy. But y'all, this is bomb, okay? This is so bomb. $18 for a gloss. Seems kind of pricey, but it's so worth it. You can apply this in the beginning of the day and your lips will be nice and plump the rest of the day. I always end up applying more just because it feels so good and it looks so good. Alright, so now that's done, I'm going to start with my brows. I like to give the products time to really settle into the face before applying any more face products. For my brows, I've been really loving these products. It's from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So these are eyebrow gels. I have two just because I use this one to the death and it's really dry, but I actually prefer applying these products a bit more dry. This one is in ash brown, and then I have dark brown. I found that even though I have black hair, ash brown was a bit too, it was leaning more gray, cool tones for me, and I prefer applying warm tones all over because I think it suits my skin better. So that's why I've been testing out the dark brown. So how I use these products, this is all I use on my brows on the daily. I like something really quick. I don't like to do too much with my brows just because if I fixate on it way too much, I end up overdoing it. If you use the Glossier Boy Brow, this is pretty similar. What I like about this is it truly holds your brows all day long. It just has the staying power of the Dip Brow pomade, which if you tried, you know, like those things last forever and super great for those who have oily skin. I really don't like a gel that's too liquidy because when you apply it directly onto your brow after taking it out, it dispenses too much product. So I like to wait for this to dry down a bit just so it's much easier to apply. Okay, let me see if I can do this with the viewfinder. Actually, you know what? Let me take out a mirror. Okay, so I start from the ends of my brows, and this is where I apply a bit more product, so I don't mind going a bit more heavy hand back here, and then we're just going in with the finger to clean it up and really get that nice point. And then slowly make my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass up home down. Y'all see that? That was so easy compared to this one. Okay, warning, this is my bad brow, okay? She gets good grades, she got a career, she got a man. This one, she's a free bird. She's wild and free. which is, there's not a problem with her, just she's doing her own thing and I don't want her to do her own thing. So same process, starting from the ends, forming that sharp point. If you want more precision, you can actually take an angled brush and use this just like a regular dip brow pomade. But because I'm lazy and I want something quick and simple, this is all I'm doing. You see this has a bit more shape now. I'm not 100% happy with it because it doesn't match my good brow. You win some, you lose some. That is the game of life. Now on to the actual face. So I've mentioned in another makeup routine that I don't wear foundation anymore. I think the only time I've worn foundation within the past like 6 months was one time. If you're spending as much on skincare as I've been spending, first of all, I want to see results, and if I'm seeing results, then I'm not covering all that hard work. For my skin, I'm just using concealer. I have two that I flip-flop between. So this one is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, which I'm sure everyone's heard about. It's like the top ranked concealer at Sephora. I have tried the Tarte Shape Tape, which I find to be way too drying and heavy, especially if you're going under your eyes. I have this in the shade Canelli. Before I was using Cafe Con Leche, which was light with golden undertones, but this one has pink undertones, and I figured I'm just using it under the eyes and hopefully those pink tones can come through a bit and help with my dark circles. The other concealer I like to use is also from NARS, and this is their pot concealer. I have this in the shade Custard, and this is beautiful for your blemishes. It's high coverage, but it's not too heavy where it looks super cakey. On days where I'm in a rush or I just feel a bit lazy, I would just go in with this one. I don't have an issue applying this under the eyes, and I feel like with pot concealers, people would often tell you to not apply these under the eyes because it can be a bit too drying, but I don't have that issue. So I'm just going to take my ring finger, scoop it up a bit. All right, so. So I'm just using my finger. Applying this with your finger is the best because the warmth of your fingers really helps it melt into the skin easier. Just in here. And then I have a tiny bit of marks here, but they're not that noticeable for me to really care. The whole point of this like natural no makeup look is to let some of your insecurities, your flaws show through. Because if you do like too full coverage, it doesn't look that natural. I mean, if that's the look you're going for, you know, do what you want to do. It ain't my face. I can't tell you what to do. All right, so now for the under eyes. I start here and then I kind of bounce under the eye to really warm the product up, and then slowly work my way up. I don't go directly in. I bring the product inwards, but I don't start from there. And then I like to bring it in the inner corners to help brighten, and then on the top of my nose bridge. And I feel like if you conceal like this up here too, that naturally just lifts your face. See this one? Ooh, she's awake, she alive. This one. Tap, 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 tap. But yeah, as you see, that wasn't that much at all, and it looks really natural, I think. These days, I just go without powdering, which is insane to me because before I would do the whole baking method. I would really try so hard to mattify my skin, which in turn made it much worse. So, yes, yay for skincare. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to move on with the eyes. So we're just going to start with some eyeshadow primer. This one's from Milani. This baby was less than $5 and she works just as well as Urban Decay Primer Potion. Actually, I don't know. I haven't used Urban Decay Primer Potion in like a mad long time, but this does the job for a fraction of the price. Okay, I need a mirror. No, can I do this? I'll do this. I can do this. I'm really not going to apply that much product on my actual lids, but no matter how minimal my look is, it still requires a primer just because my lids get very oily. And even on days where I don't feel like applying eyeshadow, I might do mascara. If that's the case, I still have to apply primer, or else even with a... Alright, so I realized my camera cut me off while I was talking about primer, and this entire time I was amping myself up about blush. But to finish what I was saying about primer before, I have to wear primer all the time on my lids if I'm applying mascara, eyeshadow, whatever it may be, because my eyelids are so oily. But now, let me get back into talking about blush, okay? So I'm really excited about this. This is a buxom blush. It's the Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush in the shade Goa. So I first heard about these blushes from Kathleen Lights. Every single product I've tried that Kathleen has recommended has been a godsend to me, okay? To find the natural flush on my cheeks, I went ahead and pinched them, and I found that my natural flush looks a bit more like this, like a berry mauve shade. And before I was using like peachy tones, which there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're really going for a super natural everyday look, it's kind of cool to just find how your natural face flushes. So a lot of people will tell you to apply your blush on the apples of your cheeks right here when you smile, but if your face is neutral, it kind of drops. Even if you're happy all the time, or if you're pretending to be, you are not smiling all the time. So applying your blush on the apples of your cheeks will actually bring it downwards. So I suggest the key to all this is applying it a little bit above the apples of your cheeks. Let me just show you. I'm using this Real Techniques blush brush, and these blushes are so pigmented. So I'm going to just dip a tiny bit, and then we're gonna, all right, so putting it upwards a bit. I would even go as far as applying it closer to your under eyes to get that really like youthful lifted look. I think a while ago I saw a lot of images from Japanese girls who would apply their blush directly underneath, which made them look really youthful. That's not the look I'm really going for. I don't want like a ton of blush under here, but we're just going to kind of apply that idea with this method of applying blush. Okay, and then other side. I always end up applying way too much. Alright. And then we're gonna apply like a bit on the nose. Okay, this gives me a nice like winter flush. Like you're just frostbitten. And this blush generally lasts all day long. But yeah, like she's beautiful, she's cute. So I pretty much just swipe it all up here where you would apply highlighter normally. And I find that that's the sweet spot to blush. Do you see how that kind of just like lifted, gave me like a really youthful glow compared to if I were to apply it all the way down here? Just, it doesn't make sense. So now onto bronzer, but this isn't really bronzer. I just use it as a bronzer, but it's a blush. So the product I use as bronzer is from Burt's Bees. It's their blush in Toasted Cinnamon. Clearly, this will not work as a blush for me, so that's why I like to use it as bronzer. And it's a bit orangey, really warm, which I prefer in my bronzers. Before I would use a bronzer that was more brown, but I realized it just made my face look like I had dirt on it. So I guess I just didn't realize my undertones back then, but this really works for me. So I use another Real Techniques brush. This is their powder brush. And I use something really big and fluffy to kind of disperse the product all around rather than concentrating it on a single area. And I find that it just adds color back into your face so easily. So we're going to apply this all over. Bring it down the neck. Do up here. I also apply this a bit more upwards. People would suggest that you apply your bronzer like from the top of your ear towards the side of your lip. So I'm kind of concentrating in that a little bit, tiny more upwards to kind of give that lift. And now for the nose, I use the same brush, but I'm going to take the side of it and then just tap it a tiny bit. And this is how I apply my nose contour. So now we're going back onto the eyes. I'm taking the same blush bronzer shade and I'm using this Morphe Fluffy Crease Brush. It's M505. So I'm just gonna take a little, first of all, I'm just gonna take whatever product I have before, clean it a tiny bit. It's shedding. Okay, not to hate on Morphe or anything. The only products from Morphe I've really tried are the brushes, and then I was gifted a Jaclyn Hill palette, which is actually like really good. A lot of people hype up their brushes, but I've had $1 e.l.f. brushes that don't shed on me. I've had these for months now and they still shed. What the heck? I'm just gonna take that shade and apply it very messily all over my lid. Now we can't forget our bottom lash line. I'm going with another Morphe brush. This one is their M506. It's just a tinier kind of crease brush, but it's a bit more pointed. Before, I did not worry about my bottom lash line at all, but I realized it makes your look very top heavy if you don't apply anything under there. I also feel like this color kind of just helps brighten my under eye in a way because it's so warm. But for anything messy, we're just going in with our trusty finger, smoothing it out. Now, moving on to my least favorite part, applying mascara. So this one is from Japanesque. I've tried a dollar store eyelash curler that worked better than this. For some reason, every time I use this, it always rips out my lashes. And the only reason I'm still using it is because I haven't felt like buying another one. So I've just been really careful with this, but this generally just feels like it's tugging my lashes out. So here we go. Ah! I already have a lash that fell into my eye. I hate that. Hate it. Great. Fantastic. The best mascara. If you have stubby, tiny lashes that cannot hold a curl, this is meant for you. This is the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume in the waterproof formula. So I have this in the brown shade. I think I saw in like a Kylie video or something. She mentioned how her makeup artist told her to use a brown mascara on the bottom lashes to open them up a bit more because it's lighter. And I just feel like it helps because my natural eye color is like a lightish brown. So applying too much like darkness, I guess, around my eyes. And this is also why I don't wear eyeliner that much. I feel like it tends to make my eyes shrink, like appear smaller. So here we go. Let me just apply this. I know Shay Mitchell also really loves this mascara. Ah! No. So the last step for me would to be adding a tiny bit of powder, but like I said, it's not super necessary right now because it's been so dry out. But let me just show you how I would powder. So I'm using this one from Too Faced. It's their Primed and Poreless Skin Moving Pressed Powder. This is a beautiful pressed powder. And ooh, I have a little lash here from this stupid eyelash curler. So I just use this e.l.f. brush. This is like, I think this is their blush brush, yeah? Yeah, e.l.f. blush brush, like $3. And then, so I do the corner of my nose. I'm gonna do a tiny bit under the eyes, not that much. In fact, I honestly don't know how people bake underneath their eyes because it always leaves me looking so crusty. Like, what are your secrets? Okay, and then I just kind of bring it down to smile lines. A bit on the chin. And then kind of there. Okay, just kidding. A tiny bit up the forehead as well. Tiny bit. And that's it. Actually, If I really want to go a tiny bit extra, I would apply a highlight, but the blush I had used had a bit of shimmer in it. So typically I don't, but let me show you what I would use if I want to go a tiny bit more glam. So this is also recommended by Kathleen Lights. Love her. This is the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in their highlight shade number 1. This is a gorgeous highlighter. It's super silky. Ooh. You can hardly see it, but it's more of like a sheen than straight up glitter, which I love for a more natural look. I don't like really intense highlights just because on the daily, it's not something I can really see myself wearing and feeling comfortable about, especially because when you're already so oily, anything that adds more shine to your face is a no-no. Taking the Real Techniques setting brush, a tiny bit up here, and then I swirl a bit on my inner corner of the eyes to brighten them, and then I go in the brow bone, and then for the cheeks I go a little bit higher than where I applied the blush. So that is it for the video. This is what I do on the daily for work, or if I want to look a bit more presentable when I'm running errands or meeting up with friends. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you use any of the products, let me know how you enjoy them. I would love to know your top favorites down below. These are all products that I truly love and I've been using for months now consistently. It hasn't failed me yet. Remember, if you have acne prone, oily skin like I do, it's not really all about the makeup products you use, but a lot of what you use for your skincare. So skincare first, makeup after. Drop all those mattifying products, girl. You do not need that. Get some moisture in your face. Wear sunscreen. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts down below. And okay, all right, bye everyone.
Things take some time. I'm like, ooh yeah. Patience is a virtue when I'm moving. Looking at my life, it's a movie. Lot of ups and downs, I'm sticking to it. I got the sauce,